Okay, welcome back to geometry class. Today we are talking about volume of bright prisms. This is worksheet number 31. If you are in my class, it's also your test. I wrote test 7, but it's actually test 9. And this will be a little simpler than the surface area that we did last. This is just bringing a new formula in. So volume is the space inside, like how much something can hold. It's usually used in like liquids and things like that, but also in 3D shapes. And the formula for volume in right prisms is the area of the base, that's what the B stands for, the area of the base times the height. And there are a couple special ones. For a cube, it's just the sides cubed, and for a rectangle, it's just length times width times height. So that's kind of a little bit of a shortcut. So there's only 7 problems on here. We're going to do 3 of them together. And I'm covering a different array of problems. On number 1, it's a rectangular prism. And so I just need to do my length times my width times my height, which would be 10 times 12 times 3. So I can do 10 times 12 times 3, and 10 times 12 is 120, and 120 times 3 is 360 centimeters cubed. Okay, so rectangles are fairly simple. Cubes will be really simple. You're just going to cube whatever number they gave you there for the side, or multiply it by itself 3 times. Triangles, you want to find the area of the base. Now the base would be the shape that we're talking about. So in this case, the 2 triangles, that is the base. It should be standing on that. It's not, okay? But whatever area you're trying to find of that, that's how you figure out where your height is. I wouldn't necessarily think that 18 was the height of this shape, but if this shape was sitting on its base, then 18 would absolutely be the height. So you got to kind of pay attention to the shape, but 18 is the height. And now I need to find the area of the triangle in order to have the B for my formula here. So area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. That's what the formula is. So my height is 5. So 1/2 times 5 times 12, or base times height. It doesn't, I wrote them backwards, but it won't matter. Half of 12 is 6, so it's really 6 times 5, 30. So 30 centimeters squared is the area of that. But I have to take that, that's just the B in this formula. I need to take that and multiply it by 18. So I get 30 times 18, and I get 540, and this will be centimeters cubed. Okay, so these aren't that bad. All right, the trapezoid one, you want to use the trapezoid area formula first, and then find this one. I picked 7. 7's the one everybody has a hard time with because it doesn't fit into a certain shape, and I'm going to explain that to you. Before I do that, I do want to let you know that I'm giving extra credit. If you watch these videos, because this is your class time, if you watch these videos and write down all of the notes that I write down on a separate sheet of paper and turn it in with the corresponding assignment, I'm going to give you extra credit every time you do that. That lets me know that you at least spent time watching my lesson, which means you spent time in class, so that's kind of like a daily grade or daily credit. However, I'm going to give you extra credit for doing that. It kind of hopefully will hold you a little bit more accountable for being in class or doing the actual work, because most of you are not reading the notes, you're just jumping right into it, and unfortunately you can't do that in math. So keep that in mind for previous videos or future videos, that if you write down everything I write on the board on a separate sheet of paper, turn it in with the assignment that this corresponds to, and I'm going to give you extra credit every time. So that's one way to get some extra credit. So 7, this weird shape that's, I don't know, like a tall skinny house or something like that, you need to break it up into 2 shapes, okay? If you put a line right here and look at the roof of my house, it's a triangle prism, and the bottom would be a rectangle. So I'm going to treat this, and I'm going to do just what I did for that one for the top and what I did for this one for the bottom, and then put the 2 together. Sometimes you have to separate them. So for this rectangle, length times width times height, for this one, it's going to be 20 times 10, which is 200 times 6, so it's going to be 1200. So that's part of my answer, okay? That takes care of the whole box. Now I need this, all right? Problem is, I got to find out what my base and my height is, and then put it in this formula. So the 5 is not your height. That is one of the slants of the triangle, but the height would be from the perpendicular line straight up, okay? Because it has to make a right angle when you do that. So your height is actually this distance here. How are you going to find that? Well, they gave you everything you need in this picture if you just look around. One, if I look at this sad little rectangle here, this is a 6, so this part has to be a 6 because it's a rectangle. All right, which gives me the base, and all I need is the height. The whole height from this to the point of that is 14, but this leg over here is only 10. Again, it's a rectangle. It's only 10. So 14 minus 10 would leave 4 meters for your height, okay? So you kind of have to deduce that. Remember, geometry is all about logical deduction. So once I did that, I'm going to do this part, which is going to be 1/2 times 6 times 4. 1/2 of 6 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Then I can't forget I have to multiply it by the height of this thing, which is this big old long length, because again, this is the base. It would be turned over like this. So that would be 20. So I'm going to do 12 times 20, which would give me 240. I add those 2 volumes together, the volume of this and the volume of that, and I'm going to get 1440 meters cubed. Okay, so not that bad. It'll be, next week we are starting a little bit of a review. I had to revamp the class a little bit because at this point we would be getting back into proofs and finishing out the year with proofs up until our final review. However, I don't think you're going to grasp the proofs as well at home that you would if we were in class and I could help you, because they are a lot more difficult than they were in the beginning. So I think we're going to go back and I have this review book and review every technique that we've learned pretty much throughout the year to help us be the best at everything that we have learned thus far in proofs, unless you're going to take a trigonometry class in college or go into that field. You're not ever going to use them in class or in life, pretty much. Deductive reasoning you will use, yes, but to figure out why a circle is the same size of the circle and prove that theoretically, no. So I think I'm going to hone in on the skills that we need, and so the rest of the work this year will be stuff that you've already done. I still make videos on it to make sure that you are pristine at whatever it is that we have. Okay? So have a good rest of your day, and God bless.